Welcome back, YTPC. My name is Brian. This is my channel, Pipe Currency. If you have Instagram, you can find me at pipe_currency on Instagram. Lots of you have migrated over there from YouTube to my Instagram account. Love the pictures, love the conversation. Really great stuff you guys post on Instagram. The pictures of your pipes and the tobaccos and some of the tobacco chat, really informative stuff. I really appreciate it. So if you have Instagram, you're more than welcome to come over and join us. Once again, that's at pipe_currency. Thank you for everyone who watched my first impressions video of HU Tobacco's Dark Sea. I got her jarred up right here. I'm going to be putting this into the dark cellar, if you will. I think I won't revisit this again until December. I'm going to give it about 5 months to sit inside the jar and breathe. It was good. It wasn't overly impressive. I told you it had that like spicy sweetness in the tobacco, which reminded me of Christmas, but I think it may need a couple of months in the jar to breathe for it maybe to come out a little more. So again, I just had that one bowl. I'm not going to try it again, and it will be disappearing until December. So maybe I'll do a video come December on how this tobacco is going. Of course, I still have HU Tobacco's Night Owl to open up. I'll probably do that maybe this weekend or next week. Okay, I got some plans on some other videos I want to do, but maybe I'll pop open that other tin of Night Owl next week. Okay, so guys, we got to talk about a tobacco here. And that tobacco we need to talk about today is Sam Gawith's Perfection. Now, I lost the tin. Sorry, don't know where it is. It didn't really matter because honestly, the tin, the label for Perfection was 1/3 of the tin. The other 2/3 of the tin was some awful warning label with like a rotting lungs or some guy in a hospital bed. It was something like this. It's just terrible. So I think it's actually better that I just have it with a label on it. Those that have been following my channel might remember I picked that tin up, that tin of Sam Gawith's Perfection, at the end of January when I was in Krakow. It was either very end of January or very beginning of February. Actually, I think it was the very beginning of February. I walked into the tobacco shop in Krakow, where I was here recently, and I was looking at what they had, and this tin called Sam Gawith's Perfection caught my eye, and I messaged my buddy, who's been a pipe smoker much longer than me, and he had never even heard of it. And so I said, you know what, I'm gonna go home, do some research, and think about it. So I went home, I looked it up, and it sounded interesting, and I purchased it, and I cracked it open, and again, I talked about it a little bit back in February. What I found was it was a pleasant smoke, but the flavors were fragmented. They just really weren't melding well together, and I found the vanilla topping, though pleasant, again, it was a little bit too bold, I thought. With the components being so fragmented. So I threw it in a jar. As you can see, I had about 5 or 6 bowls of it back then. And I threw the rest here in a jar, and I left Ukraine, and I just got back here on Saturday. So it's had 5 months to sit in this jar and breathing, and I revisited it 2 nights ago, and just utterly blown away about how good it is. But before we get into that, let me read for you, for those of you who've never heard of Samuel Gawith's Perfection, and I don't blame you if you haven't, let me read for you what smokingpipes.com has on their website about this tobacco, okay? It says, named after a local pipe smoker who couldn't find his regular tobacco, he asked Sam Gawith to make up a blend. His reaction to the new mixture? Perfection. A combination of Virginias, Latakias, and Turkish Orientals has been touched by the subtle flavor of vanilla. So it's a Virginia Latakia Oriental with a vanilla topping. It's called in English, and it is a ribbon cut. Now, as I said, I had a few bowls of this back in February. By the way, drinking some Coffee Lake coffee, my favorite coffee chain here in Kiev, Ukraine. 2 very lovely young ladies made this for me and were chatting my ear off. I think they just wanted to practice their English, but shout out to Coffee Lake all over Ukraine. So as I said, I had a few bowls of this. I thought it was good and I thought it had potential, but I put it away in a jar, and as I said, I was in Georgia and North Macedonia and in Poland and in Canada over the past 5 months. And when I returned, I was really quite curious to see how this would develop. So as I said, a couple nights ago, I loaded up a bowl of it. By the way, I'm smoking it in my Bruno Nuttons. I love this pipe. I don't know how well it shows up on this camera. Great pipe. I smoke Latakia blends, basically, in here. But I loaded up a bowl of this Perfection the other night, and it was perfection. It was absolutely terrific. I'll get into it a little bit more. Let me get this loaded up here for you. You're going to get the real-time experience here. It is a little bit damp when it comes out of the tin and jar, so it needs a little bit of drying time, not much. I did smoke it a little bit wet the other night just to try it out. It was good, but I just don't like all the relights, right? Yeah, it's really quite pleasant. So as I said, it's a Virginia Latakia Oriental. And what I get right away is you get the mild Latakia and the sweetness from the vanilla. Now, you have a mixture of different things in this tobacco, guys. You have the Virginias. You have the spiciness from the Perique. You get the sweetness from the Orientals, and there's the smokiness. Sorry, there's no Perique. The spiciness is coming from the Orientals and Latakia. And then you get the smokiness from the Latakia. And none of them are bold. None of them are really taking over this tobacco. Yeah. They're all very nicely balanced. It's a mild English. This, as you know, with the months right now are really hot. I don't know where you live, but here in Ukraine, we're flirting with 30 degrees now every day. And, you know, in the morning, I like a Virginia with coffee. But I've always been an English guy in the evening. And when the months are really hot in the summer, sometimes it just gets too hot to smoke a English. But it hasn't been that hot here in Ukraine, so I've been looking for, like reaching for an English. And I found the perfect summer English. I think really it's all the components after 5 months have melded together. So the vanilla topping has dissipated. The Latakia is there, but it's not overwhelming. The spiciness is there. It's a mild spice that you're getting from the Orientals, but it's not overwhelming. And of course, you get a little bit of sweetness from the Virginias, but there's a topping that's on top of this, so you can't trust that that's the Virginias. But as I said, just a nicely balanced, perfect, mild English for these hot summer months. So I had a bowl of this 2 nights ago, and it was so knocked out by it, I got a different pipe and I smoked it, another bowl, with a glass of scotch. Wonderful experience. I had a feeling, you know, every once in a while, if you smoke a pipe long enough, you can kind of go, this tobacco could go one way or the other. This could end up being a really great tobacco, or it's going to be a disappointment. When I had smoked it, when it was fresh out of the tin, I remember thinking, there's potential here, the absolute potential. And you'll remember, I did a video earlier in the year saying that the 5 tobaccos that have impressed me so far, this one did impress me when it was fresh out of the tin. I knew the potential was there. And every once in a while, I'm right. Sometimes I'm wrong. Sometimes I think a tobacco has potential and it doesn't realize its potential. This realized its potential. I would absolutely recommend this to you. And I would buy it again. Look, when the winter months come, I'm not going to be smoking this. I'm going to go back to my Dunhill Englishes and GLP's Quiet Nights. I love Quiet Nights, Penzance in the winter months. I have a tin of Dunhill BB 1938 open. Fantastic. Fantastic English. Robert McConnell's Oriental. You guys know I love all these tobaccos. These are my winter tobaccos. This is not one I would smoke in winter. This is something I would smoke during the warm summer months or very early autumn. And you could have this like this with a nice crisp IPA this time of year, guys. Or for those of you who don't drink, a nice iced tea, or you Southern Americans like to say sweet tea. I believe you guys really like. This would be a wonderful accompaniment to one of those beverages. Now I had it with a Scotch the other night, a sherry cask Scotch, and it was just delightful. Like they just played off each other so wonderfully. So I have to say, guys, Sam Gawith's Perfection, when I saw the name and then I read the write-up the first time, I thought, come on, guys, really? A tobacco with vanilla topping is perfection? Well, it's made a believer out of me. I would absolutely recommend this, and I would buy it again. In fact, if I see it again when I'm in Poland, I'm going to get another tin. So if I were you, I would get a tin of this, or two, if you can get it. Crack it open like I did. Have 4 or 5 bowls. And I think you'll see what I mean. It gets fragmented. The ingredients just aren't melted together yet. Throw it in a jar 5-6 months, guys, and wait for the warm summer months to come, or late spring or early autumn. It really hits the spot. You know what it reminds me a little bit. It reminds me a little bit. It just came to me now. It reminds me a little bit of Frogmorton on the Town. I'm serious. You guys remember, right before I left Ontario, I cracked that tin of Frogmorton on the Town. I was really impressed by it. This is very reminiscent of it. It just came to me. It's so much like Frogmorton on the Town. The only difference is I think Frogmorton on the Town is a bit tangier, but not much. This is I don't know if they meant this on purpose or this is just completely inadvertent. This is really reminiscent of Frogmorton on the Town. If you're a fan of Frogmorton on the Town, I think you could find something that would come very close to it. I'm serious, guys. I didn't plan that. It just hit me right now. Really pleasant smoke. I highly recommend this to you guys. Again, not something I'm going to go for in the winter because I would want something a little bit more robust. But this is hitting all the right notes with me in these high 20s, low 30 weather. Yeah, really, really quite nice. Okay, guys, that's my review of Samuel Gawith's Perfection. Perfection indeed. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. You know I appreciate you guys. I don't do this for cash. I don't do this for glory. I do it because I love pipes and pipe tobacco, and I love interacting with you guys because I don't get a lot of interaction with other pipe smokers. You're my outlet for this, right? So if you enjoyed this video, please like, please subscribe. I would seriously appreciate it. Don't be afraid to shoot a comment below. I answer all comments. Out of respect for you, I always answer comments. As long as you're friendly. That's all. Okay, guys, I'm going to finish the rest of this. This is just excellent stuff. Thank you very much for watching. I will talk to all of you very soon.